Good morning, and thank you all so much for joining us on this wonderful Wednesday, and welcome to the Minority Business Development Agency's virtual Subs and Sandwiches webinar with J.E. Dunn Construction. I am Marshette Turner, the new director of the Houston MBDA Business Center. This is our 7th year offering our Subs and Sandwiches platform and our 2nd year with J.E. Dunn Construction. During today's webinar, all attendees will be in listen-only mode, but no need to worry. There will be a Q&A session at the end of our time together. And Mark Praigg will be facilitating that portion of the day. Of course, you can type your questions in the chat during the presentation, and they will be answered at the appropriate time. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded and will be available via email to all registered participants. We have our entire Houston MBDA team here with us today, and I am super excited about that. And they are Ms. Jessica Vasquez, who is our office manager and our all-around go-to for everything. Ms. Diedra Sutton, who is our business advisor, and certainly Mr. Mark Praigg, who is now a part-time business advisor after retirement. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm always delighted when our team can gather and present wonderful information. Again, today's presenter is J.E. Dunn, and the flow of our event will be as follows. J.E. Dunn will introduce themselves and then make their presentation. We will then have our Q&A session. And lastly, we will have a hard stop at about 12:35, 12:40 today, because we're a little late getting started. Now, we are going to hear from J.E. Dunn. I'm not sure if Mr. Furlow is connected, but we do have an alternate here. So J.E. Dunn, take it away.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Bruce Crocombe. I'm the Director of Pre-Construction and Vice President for the Houston office of J.E. Dunn. Thank you so much for allowing us to present at this event. It means a lot to us, and with that, let's get rolling.
Absolutely.
Just the agenda for our part of the presentation. We start all of our meetings with a safety moment. We're going to tell you a little bit about J.E. Dunn and what we do in the community. Our MCD program that we host here. And then we wanted to get into some upcoming opportunities, some projects that we have currently out bidding right now. Going to talk to you a little bit about how to register with J.E. Dunn and be one of our qualified trade partners, and then just a Q&A session at the end. So with that, let's start with a safety moment. Martin.
Okay, so good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Martin Guerrero. I am the Senior Safety Specialist for the J.E. Dunn Houston office. I've been in construction for about 15 years, and 11 of those years I've been involved heavily with safety full time. So like Bruce said, we start our every meeting with our safety moment. So I figured it'll be good to talk about this certain topic, being that it's the development. We're talking about development. So often on projects and construction projects, we talk about production, quality, and safety. You know, that's a common vocabulary we hear on our projects, but we really want to focus on value of safety and the health program. You know, every year, more than 5,000 workers are killed on the job. You know, that's an average of 14 deaths per day. That's a lot. You know, what would be the ideal number? Absolutely zero, right? Absolutely. You know, that easier said than done, but I think implementing a safety and health program early on with businesses goes a long way. You know, we prevent workplace injuries and illnesses. We improve compliance with laws and regulations. We engage workers. We enhance social responsibility and ultimately increase productivity and enhance overall business operations. So what I mean by that is, you know, you can't have one without the other. You know, production, quality, they have solutions. If someone gets hurt, there's no solution. But at the end of the day, we want to strive for that zero injuries in the workplace.
Thanks a lot, Martin. And we'll get into more about how how important it is to us when we get to the portion about how you register to work for J.E. Dunn. Safety is really number one. I mean, at the end of the day, we want all of our folks who work with us and for us to go home to your family just the same way as you came to work that day. With that, a little bit of an overview on J.E. Dunn Construction. We do have offices in the locations indicated on the map, primarily up through the central portion of the United States and to the east. We were established in 1924. So we're coming up on a 100-year-old company. It's a family-owned business. Like I said, we have 24 offices across the United States with over 3,000 employees. One great thing about J.E. Dunn is we are an employee-owned company. So we have skin in the game. And so when we talk about safety, treating others the way we want to be treated, and all of those things, it means a lot to every single individual employee because we are owners in the company. Some of the markets that we serve, advanced industries is a really big one for us right now. They're trying to figure out how to make all these microchips that we've heard so much about recently. And there's two big facilities that up in the north that we're doing some very large projects with that make that. But we do a lot of healthcare work, general building. I think we're number 11 in the country in sports complexes, both at university and professional team sports, education, data centers, manufacturing, and municipal and government. So you can see some of our national rankings according to Engineering News Record. Although we're a big, kind of a national private company, our region, we're set up into 4 regions. The region that we serve is really Houston, Austin, Dallas, and Oklahoma City. That's what we call our South Central region. That South Central region has been in operation for 25, I think it's an old slide, it's more like 26 years, I believe. We do about $700 to $800 million in revenue and 4.25 billion nationwide. I think we're going to come close to hitting 5 billion this year. Just truly amazing in 2021 with all the COVID and, all the things that have sidetracked, a lot of companies. We have continued to grow. So plenty of opportunities to work with J.E. Dunn. Some of our notable, projects, these are projects that we've done recently in the Houston area. We're working out at the Houston airport system right now, and we've got other projects. This was we're doing a maintenance facility currently, but we've got a lot of other projects that we're looking at. Sci-Fair, we've done a lot of work out in Sci-Fair with, these are fire stations. We had a package of 4 fire stations, and then it's kind of a niche, but we did another one and then another one. Crimson Gables is a multi-family high-rise over here in the Galleria area. Large project. Barber Bush Literacy Plaza is one that we're finishing up now with the city of Houston. Harris County Pets, or Ben Taub. So it's just an illustration that we're working for municipal projects, private development. We're working at City of Houston, airport system, and with the county as well. See, Bernard, you're on.
I am. I apologize for the technical difficulties. We found out that Martin was using my ID, so when he was logged in, so.
Do you want to talk about our commitment to the community?
Yeah, absolutely. And for some reason, I'm not able to see the content, but I will tell you that we've made an all-on effort within the community of Houston. There we go. There's 3 factors of community engagement that we look at. A lot of companies around, large companies like ourselves, we fall under number 1 and number 2, right? So we donate financially. It's easy for us to cut a check and donate that to organizations around the city. And then we also volunteer our time and effort and energy into organizations, which is all great. Those are all great things. But there's a third component of it, which we focus on here in our Houston office, is hiring the community. And that's reaching out to MWBEs in the community in an all-out effort in order to help increase sustainability within each company. We want to be a mentor to help businesses grow and understand what it takes in order to be successful. So we have a passion and an all-out effort to make sure that we are reaching out to the community and doing the best we can to put folks to work. And so that falls under what we instill in ourselves as J.E. Dunn by doing the right thing, being genuine in what we do, making sure that we're serving others, and then just the all-in commitment to make sure that happens. And so what we've also committed to doing is any private projects that we have on our board that do not have participation goals, we are still creating internal participation goals just to make sure that, again, that we're doing the right thing for the community.
We didn't get to properly introduce Bernard because he's having some technical issues getting on the call, but Bernard's the vice president of our Houston office here. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to introduce you.
Thank
Gotcha.
you
And I
for that,
apologize
Bruce.
for just jump. I appreciate that. As Bruce said, I'm one of the VPs within the organization, and my objective here and job here is to lead our operations to make sure that we excel with our operational excellence. So this slide here shows our volunteer efforts, physically going out to the community. My favorite one out of this is the top left. That is the House of Tiny Treasures here in Houston. And so it's an incredible preschool for homeless children. And we had the very fortunate opportunity to go there and help beautify the campus for the kids. So we did that over a weekend. And when the kids came back in on Monday, they had all new plants and landscaping to play with. And it was a fun opportunity. There we go. So our MCD program, which stands for Minority Contractor Development Program, is about a year-long program. The process is anyone can reach out to us. If you're in a construction-related field and you're a minority, woman, or a hub certified company, you can apply to be part of this program. We go through an interview process and then a full invitation. And during this process, year long, we talk about everything business related, from leadership training to business excellence, pre-construction, just all the aspects to work with J.E. Dunn, and not just J.E. Dunn, but any contractor out there. We hope to equip our team and our participants with the opportunity to be well-versed and knowledgeable in what it takes in order to work with a large general contractor. And so this picture here was graduation from last week, and it was a very inspiring moment for myself to be able to watch each one of these business owners and participants go through the program, stick it out, and make it to the end. And so we provide them an extra special gift, which they're all holding as part of the graduation. So it was an incredible opportunity.
So A couple of key projects that we have upcoming that you might want to put on your radar we've got 2 large projects out with MD Anderson Cancer Center. There is a large vivarium project that we're positioned for. We've been shortlisted, and we're planning on getting that project, but it's a large vivarium. We built their original vivarium, and we also just completed one of the largest vivariums in the country out in Atlanta. So we've assembled a great team on that, and we're really hoping that's going to be a landmark win for us, and that'll be a good opportunity to look at. There's also a big education building coming up with also with MD Anderson. That'll be a great project to come up and take a look at. Both of the goals on that project are 21.1%. One of them's design build and the other is traditional.
And what's great about that, Bruce, if I can chime in real quick, is, I mean, do the math. These are big projects. So 21.1% is the goal. However, you know, we have aspirational goals within JE Dunn to try to maximize participation. So our goal is to be north of that number. So
yeah. We have a project that upcoming in the College Station area for a 500-bed, 501 student housing project, and that's a large project that's anticipated to start, you know, here in the next, say, 8 months, 9 months, and be completed within 18 months duration. Again, that's a very nice project that we should be doing, and again, we'll be setting internal goals for that as well. We're doing some more industrial type work. This is one of several projects. It's just an example of a manufacturing warehouse that we're currently working on off of Telge Road. The construction on this one is more pre-engineered metal building, site work, utilities, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and all of that, but it's in kind of an industrial setting. Next slide. We didn't have slides, but we've in our mix, but we've, in addition to the projects that we've mentioned on the slides, there are multiple high-rise, multifamily type projects that we're looking at. There's a sports complex, youth sports complex project that's going to be in the Houston area that we're also looking at, and a couple of LNG facilities. We do some work in oil and gas along the Texas Gulf Coast primarily. So those are also projects that we have coming up in addition to the ones that we highlighted. So the way you do work primarily with JE Dunn, get on our, I'll call it a vendor list, but our trade partners will go onto our, we call it SMS, subcontractor management system, and register. And with that registration, you'll fill out a qualification package, and that's how you get on our bid solicitation list, essentially, and get qualified. So the steps are really just to go on the internet and go to www.jedunn.com and follow the instructions. There's a work with us link for trade partners. And then it's pretty simple. You can walk through it. There's just a click on create an account, add user. And then there's a list of required documents. So you can go in there and kind of check out what you have to have, you know, prior to actually going and doing. There's kind of a list of documents you want to get ready. But essentially, it's filling out a qualification statement, much like most other general contractors would have. And then we will take that information and take a look at it. Sometimes not sometimes, all the time, it's very helpful to just call me or somebody here and say, hey, I filled it out. Can you go take a look at it and see if we're good to go or whatever? So you can pick up the phone, call me anytime. Just say, hey, I filled out your qual. Can you help facilitate that and get it going? I'll be happy to. But it's pretty simple. That's how you get on SMS and get qualified. We talked a lot about safety early on. One of the criteria for getting through the quals is we look at safety, past performance on projects, financial ability to do the project, and then we want to know what your workload is, your current capacity, so that we can make sure you have the capacity to do the work. This is just a big thank you slide. We really appreciate the opportunity to get in front of you. Our contact information is on the slide. You could probably just take a picture of that if you're looking at it on your screen. And really appreciate you joining us and look forward to working with you. I guess we're opening it for questions and answers at this point.
There's one more thing, Bruce, before we turn it over, and just a second here. So one of the things we want to make sure is that each one of you, if you decide that you would like to participate and be part of us, it's great to go through the SMS system. We also want to see who you are. So reaching out to us, you've got our information there on the screen. Feel free to reach out to us. We would love to have you swing by our office, introduce yourself so we can put a face to the name and to the company. And we don't find it offensive, or if you want to just call and say, hey, I just want to come by and say hi, right? One of us will make time and introduce ourselves and get to know you, about your company, about your family, whatever the case may be, but we want to know you as individuals. So I just want to make sure that we throw that out there also.
That's a good point. Thank you.
So before we get started with the Q&A, I just want to put in a plug for your MCD program. This last cohort had 3 MBDA clients participating in it. So major props to J.E. Dunn for that. Our first question, and as I understand it, when they do the vendor process, will they be automatically added to the bid list? I suppose, once they've gone through the process, does that mean that at the end they'll be on the bid list?
Yeah, once you've filled out the SMS system, we will go through the information that was provided and make sure there's some pre-qualification criteria. If there is some area where we needed additional information or we just need to have a conversation about it, we have some folks internally that can do that. But once you've successfully filled out the pre-qualification, we will add you to our solicitation. But really, it's like Bernard said, I strongly recommend pick up the phone and call one of us and say, hey, I filled it out. I'd like to come, introduce our company or just a phone conversation or come by and meet and greet, because we don't just send the invitations to bid out to everybody. We want to send it out to a selected list when there's an opportunity. So it makes a lot of sense to, reach out, make contact, and then let's have a dialogue back and forth and get to know each other.
Which is the best practice in general, not just for your company, but for any number of firms. Do you have opportunities for a civil engineering company for utility design, coordination, and site development?
We have a couple of projects. So in our, I'd say in our industrial sector, we do a lot of design build projects. And under that scenario, we would go out and hire the architectural team as well as the other design disciplines like civil, for example. So there's multiple opportunities. I don't have one currently today, but we do have opportunities.
Yeah, there's civil engineering company. And so they're asking, is there opportunity? And part and parcel with that question is, would you consider newer companies with experienced personnel?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we don't, not just for manufacturing, but the student housing project, that 501 project could possibly be a design build. And so there would be opportunities for civil engineering company to be part of that. So yes.
And I see us doing more and more design build projects too.
Right.
Okay. And Rosa, to answer your question, I would suggest going to J.E. Dunn's website, pursuing the vendor registration process to see what the requirements are specifically.
It's really simple for vendors. Really simple.
Good. Someone's asking about your terms. Net 30, net 60. What are the terms that you typically pay your vendors?
Well, that's all contract driven. So it's going to vary depending on the project and the terms and conditions that go with that contract. So, I would say that that's based on a project to project basis. And so when we send our packages out, we also send a copy of the contract term and conditions so you are aware of what those are as far as our front-end documents.
Perfect. Does J.E. Dunn do any work with security companies, as in securing staging areas, etc.?
Absolutely. We don't want our copper running off the site, right? So there's always needs for security companies to come in and be part of the team.
So this is a good question. We are a micro electrical contractor trying to recover since the pandemic. Are there opportunities to pair with other electrical contractors?
So how it works is this: if we have a participation goal on the project, it's not just J.E. Dunn's job to hit those participation goals. We pass it on to our trades too. So if you're a first tier, you're contractually obligated to participate in the program also, which means that you need to reach out to second and third tiers, including micro companies, to be part of your team. So absolutely.
Does J.E. Dunn require bonding on its projects?
Again, those are contractual terms, a project to project basis.
Are there occasions when you use a liaison for disputes between contractors, sub v sub, prime v sub, etc.?
That's a great question. That's more of a question for our legal team, to be honest. I am not aware of anything, Bruce. I don't know if you are, but I'm not aware of where there's been that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to answer that one.
Yeah, so that would be something through our legal department. And we'll be happy to throw that question in just to see. But what I would recommend is whoever wrote that, reach out to me, shoot me an email, and I'll follow up with you outside of this conversation.
What is the duration for the MCD program? When is the next session coming up?
So we do those in rotations, and earlier in the slides, you've seen our South Central region. There's 4 offices in that. So we just finished the one here in Houston, and so it's going to circle back around on the other offices. So we won't kick that in for another at least year or so as it circles back around to Houston. That does not mean that, you know, we can't have other type of opportunities to mentor, to teach, to, you know, but that actual structured program will not take place for at least another year as it circles around to the other offices in the region.
So Rosa says she's responding to your response about opportunities for newer companies. And she says, thank you for the opportunities. I love hearing about your mission to help the community. So here's a new question. My company provides post-construction project cleaning, janitorial, custodial, sanitizing, and disinfecting. Do you have opportunities for such a company?
We do, yes.
Is it possible for today's slide to be emailed out to those who attended today? Yes, everyone who registered will get a copy of the PowerPoint. And within 2 or 3 days, we'll upload the entire presentation on the MBDA YouTube channel. So that's to answer that. So I have a question, and I hope it's not offensive to you, gentlemen, but what do you think separates a successful subcontractor or vendor from those who struggle?
You know, I think it's the overall mission of the company that is in question, right? So, you know, one of the things we teach in our MCD program is being structured. If you come in with the anticipation of gathering, you know, as many projects as you can, and you're kind of all over the board, it makes it tough to be successful, right? But those who think out a well-designed business plan for strategic growth find success, right? It's okay to say no on projects, and we do the same thing, right? There's just opportunities that could sound great, but it just don't fit, you know, who we are or the direction. For whatever reason, you know, we'll say no to it, to the opportunity. And so, you know, having enough know-how of what your capabilities are as a company, and we look for those type of companies that also align with us and our values. Our values is to be transparent. Our values is to provide our clients with high quality projects that are safe. You know, we don't go to our clients and change order them to death. You know, we stand behind our pricing. And so, you know, those are some of the things that we do as a company, and that's what we look for in our partners, and making sure that, you know, we continue with those type of values. So those are the ones that are successful, the ones that align at least with our values, because our values are all about honesty and making sure that we provide our client with what they're looking for and maximize with the budget that they have to work with.
Excellent answer. Something I counsel our own clients on. Do you need the services of a transportation company?
I can think of a rare occasion. We had a project pursuit that we were looking at for a particular client. And what we provided as far as our package is a location for the employees to catch a bus that would bus them right to the front door of the existing building. Because the way the property or project was laid out is we have a parking lot, you have our construction site, and then you have the existing building where employees need to get from A to B. And part of our effort was to include a bus system as part of the project. So there are rare opportunities where there are those, but not
Yeah.
very frequent.
Yeah, that does happen a lot in our industrial work where we're in a plant environment. The parking lot is, a mile or two from the work location. And so we wind up primarily busing in that situation, but yeah.
How do I sign up for the mentoring program and what are the requirements?
So what I would recommend is go through the SMS system and then really just keep it in touch with us, letting us know of your interest. There will be a whole solicitation that goes out, and we'll post it in many publications as we can in order to maximize the opportunities. And so we do limit the class to 12 to 15 max, just to make sure that we provide that one-on-one coaching and opportunity for each company. And so as it gets closer, we'll be putting a lot of publications out there, including through this organization. So just keep an eye on it in about a year or so, and you can always just stay in touch, and we can definitely keep you posted.
Do any of your projects require unique and innovative concrete infrastructure monitoring solutions, including wireless embeddable sensors, sensors track steel corrosion inside contract, erosion, temperature, humidity, vibration, etc.?
Yeah, Bruce, you can answer that one. That we do that too.
What I missed the first part of the question. Do we utilize the services for companies who do that? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, do you do the concrete infrastructure monitoring?
Yes, we do.
Okay. We are a signage company. We do not have an EMR from our insurance company. We do not qualify, but we have 0 losses in the last 5 years. Do we qualify?
Honestly, I would recommend going through it. If there's anything that's triggered from our risk team, we can have further discussions, but I wouldn't allow anything that you think is a limitation to stop you from going through the system. And we can talk on a case-to-case basis.
We are a fairly new waste management company. Is there minimum number of years of being in business to be able to work with you?
No,
I don't think so. There's not a minimum number of years. So I would say, just like the last question, fill out the qualification. And then if there's any question after that, there's always, you can pick up the phone and talk to a real person and talk through your individual situation or whatever. And generally it'll get approved most of the time.
Yeah, and that's a vendor service, so that's a little bit different. Now, if you were a subcontractor, we like to see some history there because, we're also sticking our neck out there for you to make sure that you're successful. So we want to make sure that your practices, that you've been in business for a certain amount of time, that you have verifiable references and things like that. So, as a subcontractor, there's a little bit more requirements that we look for. But for a vendor, yeah, it's a pretty easy process.
But with that, Marshette, we're at the end of our Q&A. Did you want to wrap up with some closing remarks?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all so much, J.E. Dunn, for being our partner in this. This work that we do is a great work. It's very helpful, informational, and transparent. And so we are thankful to have you as our partner in this. To all of our participants, thank you guys so much for your patience and for joining us on this morning. We will hopefully see some of you at our next Subs and Sandwiches. But again, to J.E. Dunn, we do thank you so much for all of your work. And Bernard, I've heard wonderful things about you from a mutual friend of ours, Roger Harris. So he said that we must connect. So I will reach out to you probably sometime later today.
That sounds great. No, I love Roger. He's a good guy. So
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We appreciate the opportunity to be part of this morning, and we are happy to, give whatever we can for the community. So feel free to reach out with any questions, comments, concerns. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. MBDA, great job, guys.